Hey guys, Brent Hull, Build Show, talking today about glass, insulated glass, laminated glass, all types of glass, and why they don't work for historic windows today in the Build Show. Okay guys, so I want to talk today about insulated glass, okay, and particularly why it doesn't work on historic windows. I've got some historic sash here and what's going on. Basically, this is a piece of insulated glass, okay, that we would get in America. Look what's happening here as far as essentially you've got two pieces of glass, one and one, okay, and they're separated by a neoprene kind of goop, right, that separates the two pieces of glass, and you can see inside here there's a metal frame. Okay, so there's a metal frame that's holding a piece of glass together, and then it is kind of sealed up with this rubber goop on the outside. It is, by American standards, about 1/2 inch, and we're told that our industry standards are between 1/2 inch and 3/8 of an inch, right? And so that's what size that gap is. Now, why does that not work for historic windows? Well, if you look at this window here, so this is a sash, this is a 1 3/8 historic sash that would have gone into a house. And so houses have either 1 3/8 or 1 3/4, but look what's happening right here where this rabbet goes, okay, in the glass. And basically what you're looking at, if this helps at all, is if I'm going to draw a section of this, right, I've got my sash here, I've got a profile, okay, and then it drops back down. And there, so here's my sash, right? There's my profile. The glass sits back here, okay? And then it's held in with putty glazing, okay? So this one obviously doesn't have the glass. Here is that gap in an 1 3/8 sash meant to hold, and it is about 1/2 inch, okay? But notice too that it only drops up about 1/4 inch. And so what that means is, if we go back down to this example here, this dimension right here is only about 1/4 inch, okay? And this dimension here is about 1/2 inch, okay? Well, if we measure this piece of glass, it's about 5/8, okay? So what that means is I've got 1/2 inch of goop showing, so that means that goop's going to be up here. I've got 5/8 of an inch of dimension. So see what's happened here is I have now run off my shoulder, okay, because that piece of glass is so thick, okay? Now, this one's 5/8, there's others that are about 7/16. So even if we get down to that 1/2 inch mark, we have no room to hold it in because this allows for 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 inch of putty glazing in order to hold that piece of glass in. So insulated glass, what will happen is that if you look at these sight lines, right, and if my 1/2 inch glass runs over here and runs over here. Now, when you're looking through this piece of glass, you're going to see this black line all the way around here because we've tried to make room for a piece of insulated glass. So that's real quickly the size and amount of goop on this historic window make it very difficult to adapt an historic sash with insulated glass. Now, on top of that, you've doubled the weight of the glass, which makes it hard on the joints and makes these windows tend to fall apart. So insulated glass doesn't really work on historic sash. So what do people do? What is this new production window that's in our shop? What do? Because they've got an 1 3/8 sash, and they've got this profile in here, and they've got insulated glass. So what did they do? Well, they basically, if you look at our sash here that we did for a courthouse, this one is an 1 3/4, so that's a little bit bigger. My little there is about a little over 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch. But what they do is, because they're taking up and putting glass in this spot, okay, in here, they have to shrink this profile. So the depth of this mutton bar, okay, and this thickness, which is about 1 inch, maybe a little bit over 1 inch, yeah, almost 1 1/8 inches, right? You've got all this great shadow lines that people love on the inside of a window, just so that you get these deep profiles. Now, what the modern manufacturer does is they shrink it down so that this profile, the inside profile, instead of being almost 1 inch, is now about 3/8, okay? So they basically took our historic sash, they basically flatten out, okay, their mutton bar, okay, that sits right here to 3/8 of an inch so that they can get their insulated glass in here, and then they do a faux thing on the outside. And if you look at this profile right here, or the back side of this, you can see that the glass is actually taped on. So this piece of wood has been taped onto the glass. And so now there's no longer joinery in here. This is a piece of glued tape. This is a piece of glued tape in order to make room for our insulated glass in here, right? So they basically shrunk that profile, that molding things down so that everything fits. Now, there are some opportunities and some options for historic glass that can work. There's a company out of England called Histoglass. They actually do a really nice insulated glass, and the reason theirs is so great is because one piece of this is actually cylinder historic glass and the other side is regular glass. You'll also notice that they have a gap of just over 1/4, okay, as compared to the 1/2 inch on this one. So it works a little bit better. There's a little bit more room to play around with on this glass. And so if you have to go with insulated glass, this is a great option from Histoglass. I've already told you about the Pilkington Spacia, right? This stuff is awesome because it's been brazed and sealed on the outside. There really is no shadow line or anything else that we're trying to hide. The only disadvantage would be where they've vacuumed out the air, okay? These are not vacuum sealed like this. That's why this R value gets, a 4 to a 7 versus this, which is about a 2, okay? And so because that vacuum exists, you end up with this little piece, a super, super efficient piece of glass, but you just got to deal with the black dots, which isn't that big a deal, but some people struggle with it. The other thing to consider is a piece of laminated glass. Now, laminated glass is if you have, and we do this a lot of courthouses, a lot of historic buildings we're working on, because laminated glass is much better at sound transmission efficiency. In other words, sound doesn't travel through this like it does a piece of insulated glass. And now on this one, you can laminate a piece of historic glass to a piece of regular glass, have something that's super efficient sound-wise, but something that doesn't have the shadow lines and everything else that would mess up an historic sash. So if you're looking for a historic sash, if you're trying to build a good window, the reason on our 100-year window why we do single pane glass is because there isn't that much efficiency gain having single pane over insulated glass. And there's so many different glass options. And because this is a 15 to 20-year product, I can't build a 100-year window and have something that's going to fail in 15 to 20 years. The larger manufacturers, the production manufacturers, look at it as a built-in obsolescence so that this fails, you're going to have to buy a new sash or buy a new window. I'm just not going to play that game. Okay guys, so insulated glass, historic glass, kind of what to do with old windows. Certainly I don't want you doing the insulated glass because it causes all kinds of problems. You'll see that the profile difference that happens on new glass where they do it with production windows really cheapens the architectural beauty of the single pane window that is historically made and historically beautiful. Hope that helps. Hope that helps as you guys try to put your brain around making your windows more efficient. Certainly one of the things we would recommend is doing historic storms, which is, goes on the outside, really creates a huge insulated barrier inside there, makes your windows much more efficient. It is a historic way of making, single pane windows more efficient and really solving some how to keep your house beautiful, how to keep your house historic while still, managing energy efficiency. There's a lot more information you can learn if you join my Patreon page at the journeyman level, Patreon, passionforcraft.com. I'm sending out all kinds of information every week, information on being a master builder, information on building historic windows, information on historic magazines and what they look like and what we can learn from them. All kinds of stuff. I want to raise everybody's game, help you guys be master builders and master craftsmen. I'm Brent Hull. Thanks for watching.